Hello and welcome to the Borderlands for what is the level 20 edition of Purple is the Chosen One, this favoured soul life. Plenty to tell you in this one while we lick our wounds in preparation. I've been absolutely mauled in 3 of the Borderlands quests, the 3 that we've completed so far, because I had the silly notion to try them on Reaper 4 and needless to say that did not go very well. We found ourselves making extensive use of the Death Pact and also the Gibber's Blade, and even then in some cases it wasn't enough. I've had a problem with because when you go into the epic, some spells are kind of phased out. We've left Flame Strike behind now, and one of you mentioned the Deific Vengeance. That's disappeared now from the bar. I mean, it's debatable whether I should be doing anything with these single target things at all. I've been so used to having them in the number 1 to 3 slots, the single target things, that I've left them in there for now. It left the spell-like abilities as well, because mana was a huge issue. I hadn't meted up the whole thing. I had tried putting maximize, and even in these little quests, I suppose because the difficulty was hiked up, we were taking a lot more spells to kill things, and yeah, it wasn't going so well. I mean, there were some pluses. The crowd control was still working with the greater colour spray and the sound burst. I mean, look at that. That is heightened, so you can see the cost is quite high. But 62 as a level 20, that's outside of Reaper. It's quite a bit higher in Reaper. I think in the mid 60s, maybe 66 perhaps. So I'd get times when a couple of Reapers would pop up and a sound burst would take care of them. But I was stumbling over myself, trying to find something to attack them with then, because all the keys have changed round. Let me just show you what I've tried to do, epic-wise. So I've gone mostly into the Draconic. My plan, I think, for the future is going to be to try and take the Evergreen. We're going to need the Mantle in the Primal as well to take Evergreen, just for this mana issue, because I just don't want to be going through the whole epic and bothering with that. So we're going to run with, plus the fact that it's not a bad match. I mean, look at this, Fire, Light, Positive, Universal Spell Power in the cores. That's perfect for our build. So, and there are some other things. There's some plus charisma we can have in there. So it's not terrible by any means. Just a point in Exalted at the moment for, again, the same thing. Fire, Light, Positive, Universal. So that's a very nice point spent. But I can't see too much more here. I mean, the wings for the 3rd core would be nice, but I can't see too much more here that would be of too much interest. I mean, yes, this less spell threat would be huge if running in a party, but running alone, it's not so, well, not anything really, is it? Because even 30% less, you're still the only person there, so you're still getting hammered by the opponents. So yes, I was thinking this Mantle and using the Draconic Epic Strike, the Dragon Breath. The only downside of that is I have to be reasonably close range to hit with it. So I'm trying, as you can see on here, to lead with the Greater Colour Spray, because that's a close range as well. Then the Dragon Breath, and then the Firestorm. I've still kept the Comic Fall spell-like ability, so that has all the metas on it. And we've got the 2 big level 9 attacks Divine Wrath, which is very nice for light damage in an AoE and healing anybody on your team who happens to be in there. Celestial Bombard, nice damage and a possible knockdown. And we've also got the AoE of the Searing Light, which is the capstone from the Angel of Vengeance tree. Speaking of which, that does not mean that the Searing Light standard spell costs nothing. If you try and add metas to that, as I have here with Quicken, you're costing more points. So in fact I better take the Quicken off that. Because the idea here is to keep these cheap single target either spell-like abilities or cheap spells. And then we've got Ash down there. So at the moment we're in the Draconic Mantle and with the Draconic Epic Strike. I plan at 23 to go into the Primal for the Evergreen for the mana benefits. Let's just show you the enhancements. So 41 in Angel. I had tried with Efficient Maximize. I couldn't find enough points to get Efficient other things. It didn't seem to make that much difference. And I was missing the Sunbolt. I know people are going to say we've gone too far now for that to be useful in Epic. But I realised that this is not available as a spell in the Favoured Soul list. So the only way to get it and keep it is in here as a spell-like ability. There is another way in the... what am I doing? Oh yeah, in the third tier of Angel, there is... I think that, yes, that can be a Sunbolt as well, but apparently, according to the wiki, it's bugged and it doesn't take metas, so I won't mess about with that, I don't think. Otherwise, I built us up a bit in Feydark. We've got some extra charisma. Remember, for every core in this tree, we're also getting universal and force spell power. Another thing I did, maybe I should put it back. I'd stopped using the blade barrier because it was just... it wasn't doing too much anymore damage wise. I don't know if just because of the jump up into Epic the impact was less. Maybe it could still be useful for cleaning up things, save us a bit of mana. I'll keep it there for old time's sake. I thought about it because it's one of the two spells that are using force. We've got force on the Comic Fall and force also on that. And this tree is giving extra force crit chance, well, the universal crit chance there as well. So we've taken plenty of charisma from this tree. We've got this always on defense against magic missiles, which we didn't really need because we've got that Night Shield. But now when we cast Night Shield, we're getting 10 extra magical resistance, which if you look at our feeble magic resistance there, you'll see that we need. We were getting hit very hard by opponents in the Reaper 4 quests here, really hard. I couldn't keep up with the healing, even with the nice heal spell. So tough times there. I tried with Implosion as a level 9 spell. Things seem to be saving very regular against that, and also you have to be close range. My hope for this build was that mostly we could do our best work from in large range, you know, miles away, land all these big booms and firestorm on the back of the sound burst and not be in danger ourselves. But the nature of the quests in the Borderlands, these little caves, stops us from doing that. So it's been a bit of a baptism of fire. I've added our Ring of Spell Storing for a bit more help with the mana. And I've taken Maximise off everything. We're just running with Quicken, unless it's a spell-like ability. Charisma 62, I'm not too disappointed with that at all. I gave him the gear is the same except for the sentient weapon. Now I just used throwaway filigree, which enabled me to take the jewel out of the epic zoom sword that we were using in the last Eldritch Knight live, slot it into this epic scepter of combustion, which I got from the Borderlands vendor. We've got a Ruby of Radiance in there to boost the light spell power up a bit as well, and a few coalesced magic filigree just for the universal spell power, crit damage, charisma. So just a little boost up, and we went from low 300s on the spell power front to pushing 500 for the fire, which is not terrible, I don't think. Not terrible. What else have I got in my notes? Oh yeah, the biggest thorn in my side in these quests so far have been these Hezro that pop up when you... They seem to pop up randomly when you kill opponents in here. And they just laugh at my crowd control. I don't know if they're immune or my saves are too low, but they just march straight through it and hammer me. So that's not been fun times. New spells I've mentioned already. I took the mass heal to try and potentially help a party, but then I realised that it's got quite a long casting animation. Can I show it? Yeah, look at all this. I mean, you're doing this in the middle of a... Is that quickened? Okay, let's quicken it. So you're doing this in the middle of a sort of a frantic fight. It's still a bit of a carry-on, isn't it? As against that. Just compare the two. I wouldn't want to be having to do that. From distance, fine. If you've got 2 or 3 of your friends engaged in a combat and you just want to hit them all with that, but centered on me and in the middle of a frantic thing. I mean, that was one of the ways I died. I thought, oh, I'll just, because I'm terrible at targeting people, I just like to have them close to me with my druid build, and when I hit mass regenerate and vigor, the AoE just goes on the people near me, so I don't have to target them manually. I tried just swapping this in for the heal, and then I was wondering why nothing was happening. The slow animation really caught me out. I've added in some potions to try and help us. Spell power 25, you get those from trading Commendations of Valor, which you can get from completing any epic quest. Well worth it. Those stack with these Greater Brilliance and Greater Inferno for our fire and light needs. So it's not like I haven't tried to boost us up a bit, but yeah, we did get very unceremoniously shown the door in the quests I've tried so far, all on Reaper 4. What else have I got noted? I think that is it. So yeah, the biggest problem I've had, as I mentioned, the transition from heroic to epic, and the letting go of some spells and working in some others. This Dragon Breath, I don't think I'm using it well enough at the moment. Not making enough use of the big hitting level 9 spells. Stumbling over myself with the keys. It's not been good. And I haven't done a quest today. I just wanted to get the video out. I thought maybe, as these are short little quests, we've got 5 left to do here in the borders. I thought maybe I could give myself a break and knock the difficulty down to Reaper 1 and see how we stack up. Hopefully I'm not going to be suffering too badly on that. I really should have given myself a little quest or two to get back into the swing with the keys, because I'm sure I'm going to be pressing a load of wrong ones. I keep trying to, whenever I have an epic fail like I have here in the borders, I try and reorganize. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Death Pact, if you didn't know, knocks a little bit of con off when you use it, but it's like a free resurrection without having anybody else in the quest. So the first time you die, it'll be as though somebody cast an immediate resurrect on you. It'll say, do you want to accept a raise from yourself? And then it's best to try and move away from any opponents that are nearby and then hit yes. If you wait too long before hitting the yes, I think it stops then, and you don't then get the chance to raise yourself with the Death Pact, so be warned about that. I think we've got things here immediately, haven't we? Well, that was pretty good. The booming Dragon Breath. Maybe the advantage of going in and getting thrashed on Reaper 4 is that I can come in on Reaper 1 now and look pretty good. Nice. Okay, so one thing we have to keep an eye on is how often I'm using these single target things, because we've been talking about the Master of Light, haven't we, in the comments, and that would boost up the oh, come on. It would boost up both of those light related single target spells. But if I'm not really using them too often, it's pointless, isn't it? And it does compete with some really good stuff like the Burst of Glacial Wrath, Intensify for more spell power, Embolden for more spell DCs. Already we're making a nicer use of the Dragon Breath, so that's nice. Now, one of the things I forgot to mention, you can see we're invisible there. That's another nice defensive enhancement from the Fey Dark tree. So we're getting saves, 3 on all saves, this invisibility thing, which often triggers when you're hitting combat, hit or miss, I think. It triggers often enough to be worth selecting, I think. Now you see there I cast a defensive spell, a colour spray, and still Oh, he went and saved there. Still, the thing died. That's the draconic mantle. It's classed as an offensive spell, the colour spray. So we get this ticking. Oh, sorry, it ticks when you take a later thing. That's right. But we get this damage as well as the spell sometimes, which can cause problems when you are, like when you're trying to hold a Vengeance Reaper and you don't want it to die, and you get this ticking damage over time on it, and it ends up dying anyway. My Cold Druid has that issue. I just thought I'd throw everything in. Oh my god, he's come up to full health again. At least he's still blind. Okay. So it's not exactly been convincing, has it? But I'm sort of tippy-toeing around all the keys. The two that are most essential. I've gone completely the wrong way, haven't I? The two that are most essential are the two holds. They're the ones that are going to stop me from taking all the damage. So if I can just remember to press them and then just try and find something to do damage afterwards. And of course another big source of problems for me has been the end boss. Oh, I did find I mentioned this Dusk Heart. I did find an epic Dusk Heart. So if I do run in a party, I can do Mass Death Ward without actually having it as a spell. Come on then. Now this is where the problem's going to start. Try and cast the light heal thing to heal me too. Nice. Okay. More by luck than judgment, I'd cast the Ash, which then made him take more damage from the ensuing Dragon Breath. Now on Reaper 4 he would have lasted a lot longer and I'd have been doing less damage, and the chances are I would probably have died there. So, yeah. These, if you didn't know, are the things that you use to get the level 20 epic weapons from the vendor in the Borderlands, these ingots. Depending on which one you want, you need a different type of ingot, but they drop often in the end chests in these quests, or in the rare chests in the wilderness area, so you'll have no trouble finding the ones you want. For the epic Scepter of Combustion I'm using, or for any caster stick, it's an arcane epic ingot you need. Right, so we've done the 4 on that side. We want to go on this side now. And because... Oh, is there one down here? Oh, there is. Okay. Oh, is this the one where you can fall down that hole? Oh, God, and me and my crappy jump skill. Another thing about the Death Pact, by the way, if you happen to use it within a quest, or i.e. die and be brought back by it, you can't then recast it unless or until you have rested. That's my understanding of it. Let's have a jump potion. Now what is our jump now? 41. So with a potion we can get to the max. Stop! Oh my god, I couldn't stop them. That was a panic press all keys moment. Now they are on quite a long cooldown, you can see these big attacks. Stuck. Now this is the big problem in these, especially when those Hezro pop up. Oh, the big problem. They're just too tight for any kind of manoeuvring. Now I did manage to hold him, but my god, not good times. So I just keep this cure serious for top-ups in between times. I've got the cure moderate mass and cure serious mass for topping up a group in between battles, and the heal for the panic in the middle of the battle. Let's get the blade barrier up here. Oh, see, even the blade barrier is confused by this tight nature of all this. I must say, it looks very spectacular when you start throwing all that stuff in. It's proper, as I mentioned in a previous episode, but more so now you've got these level 9s added as well. Proper Wrath of God stuff, so you really get the immersion there. And does it show that I've never played a proper Favoured Soul before? No, that's not for us, but we can feed it, can't we? I'm not too far off opening another slot on his sentient weapon. Stalwart Pact, I think we ought to recast that, shouldn't we? If you didn't know, I think when you drop below 50% of your health, that goes off and triggers you a little bonus and some more hit points, I think. But then you have to recast it. Tasty Ham the Bear would be all over that.
Legendary.
Oh, diamond. Well, tumble, I can't see that doing too much, but we'll take it. Now, because we stopped the runner, does that mean there's no fight in here? I hope so. Yes, I think so. Oh! Spoke too soon. But diplomacy, I've kept my golden guile with me. Diplomacy, there we go.
Offers you a reward for freeing her tribe from the tyrannical war chief. The door slides open in a common chamber. You've made a deal with the tribe.
Okay, so it wasn't pretty, and definitely on a higher setting we would have died in that confusion around that Hezro in that tight little cave area. I think in fairness I've probably picked the worst possible chain to show us on, because as mentioned, this character would love to sit at extreme distance, do the enlarged sound burst, and just drop these big bombs on things. All of these four, Comet Fall, Divine, Celestial and Firestorm, can be done from double distance, plus the single target attacks if needed. It's just the Dragon Breath we can't. So I suppose in this setting the Dragon Breath is really coming into its own because we're forced into close quarters situations. I think the best use of this character, that from what I can see, would be to heal, to support a melee, like a tanky melee, because that also would heal as well as hurting the things around it. And look at the saves there, 66 in early epic, so that's I think that's pretty decent. So we're a bit rubbish defensively. Fortification, if I remember right, is low as well, isn't it? The saves are not terrible, the reflex is a bit low, but the others are pretty good. Yeah, 40's low. And these are low as well. Considering we're wearing medium armour, it's not very good. But the resistances are tidy. And the saves are reasonable. Armour class, as usual for my builds, is crap. Okay.
Door behind you seals shut as you enter.
Now I think...
There's
oh,
now only one way to go. That's fine with you, as this cave is said to contain much treasure.
but he took some shifting.
A burly
Wow.
Scar stands behind a magical barrier, guarding
Okay.
a pile of treasure. Always more. Always more.
Now can I think I can stun these. That wasn't terrible. I must try going forward not to tinker around too much with the keys, because every time I do it I sort of destabilize myself and end up pressing the wrong things and all that. If we can just keep going and have a nice little run into the epics. Dragon Breath. Yes. Oh crud. That's a nice place for that. Sorts the bat problem out nicely. I see there the difference between trying to heal when the game deems you to still be in combat and healing out of combat. Oh crud, that was a mistake. These damn bats are insufferable. He could kill me if I give him a chance. I still haven't held him. Oh, unbelievable. Now we've got an undead thing coming up here, haven't we? Let's try with the blade barrier just before it all kicks off. Can we blind them? Now it does say, actually, I've been shunning the ash, but it does say that that scales up with character power, so maybe I should have a check and see how much damage that's actually doing. Sorry, character level, it's supposed to scale up with the level, so maybe that can still be relevant going into epic. Would be nice if so. See there again, my sound burst is for crowd control, not for damage, and does almost no damage, but something died there because of the draconic or mantle thing.
This should be enough crests to fill all of the sockets on the miniatures.
Let's try not to trigger anything else if we can avoid it.
With all 3 crests neatly fitted into their sockets, a magical band of flame. The infuriating,
Crikey, he's still alive. I was sure he was dead. Nice.
cut short as it collapses. Now the treasure the creature had been guarding is yours for the taking.
Okay, nothing really there. So yes, had I been a bit more sensible about it and eased myself in on Reaper 1, it looks like the experience could have been drastically different and quite a lot more positive. I think you can tell I'm kind of feeling my way into it. Every encounter there's like a pause when I'm trying to decide what to do, which key to press. But at least things are working. The crowd control's working. We're not being absolutely mauled by things. We seem to have a reasonable damage output for the content, and we're no longer running critically short of spell points, which would be a serious worry given the shortness of most of these quests. I think if we can make it to level 23 and get the evergreen going, then boost all our spells running full metas with the extra spell points that we're going to get from evergreen, then maybe we can look at pushing the difficulty up. Or if we can just get out of these damn caves.
Walk deeper into the cave. You hear deep, guttural
It's
voices.
really cramping our style, all this. I'm trying to tempt him to come and say hello. I like that. So it's not terrible, the scorch. I need to remember that and continue to use that. Especially considering it debuffs the opponents against other fire attacks.
The iron lock creaks as it opens. You hear hurried footsteps approaching.
Oh, he was blinded but not stopped, and that cost me a big hit.
The smell of meat cooking wafts
Oh.
tantalizingly down the
That was interesting. A little lag test thrown in there. Let's try the barrier here and maybe we can defend this door.
We will never mention this again.
See the enormous amount of damage we're taking, or maybe it's just the pathetic lack of hit points we have, I don't know. Yeah, less than 1,000 hit points going into epic, so we don't have that many health, do we, relative to the content we're running. That's why it seems like we're taking big chunks every time, I guess.
The crystal above
But we are seriously vulnerable, so a more ranged strategy would be advisable, I think.
surprisingly well-crafted rock. As the silver rock clicks open, you hear the muffled voices of
They were taking damage there, but oh no. So he's giving me some real pain trying to stop him. And he has resistances and immunities and stuff as well. I'm not sure he wouldn't have been completely immune to that fire if I hadn't have started with the ash. What? Oh, one actually died in there. Oh, keys, oh my god. Oh dear, I was trying for the comic fall, missed it.
As the second lever is pulled, you can hear the rumble of the sealed doors sliding.
I really am struggling. I'm getting the holds, the initial holds right enough, but the follow-up stuff is being a real problem for me because of all the changes with the keys. I could have done with having maybe half a dozen quests before recording something, but such is the issue with live leveling. You get to see the warts and all. Oh god, another terrible mistake. Okay.
As you open the door, a massive bugbear growls.
Can we get the little thing first? Oh no, don't kill me, don't kill me, don't kill me. I've got to remember the numbers. Oh, are we on the floor again? No. Got to remember the 7 key. I claim no credit for that. I just basically pressed everything I could think of that might do something. I think it's fair to say we are having some epic teething problems, let's say. But at least I've stemmed the tide with the mana issues. Now, if we think that these quests are really small in relation to a standard-sized one, I still think I'd be alright at least to get to a shrine, if not to complete a normal-sized quest. It wasn't my plan to show you the Borderlands, it was the plan to get through here and show something a bit more interesting, but such was the beating I took. I didn't get to record one yesterday, and I thought, oh, I better just get a recording out doing these, see if we can show some of the problems we've been facing. And as I mentioned, the biggest problem I've got is coordinating all the keys, because I've had some and which things to sort of keep in the rotation. I think I've probably, barring maybe a couple, probably got that pretty good for how we are at the moment. It's just remembering to press them all and at the right moments.
Fearing for their lives,
Now this tripwire thing in here, I was for ages not knowing that it was even there and just wandering blindly into it. If you didn't know, you see this here, if you run through that, there's a sort of a gong thing goes off and they come running after you. If you manage to avoid it, you have a bit of an easier time of it. Oh, he took some decent damage. So blade barrier perhaps still relevant, especially once we can get it all maximised up and whatnot. So yeah, let's not abandon that strategy altogether. Some damage is better than none. Oh, I'm not liking these dretch things either. What? Oh, we didn't stop him. They seem to be very resistant to my crowd control. Either they... no, I know they can be controlled. So we've got 50... Oh, it's not amazing, the greater colour spray anymore, is it? But 67 on soundburst, and he's saying maybe they don't... do they not perhaps have hearing, the dretch, so they can't be stopped by that? I think this may be a mini boss coming, so let's try not to die horribly here. Come on, kill, kill! Now the big problem I've got now is I used up the dodge boost thing I had on that encounter, so the second one is going to be very painful. Please remember the 7, although that does take a bit to trigger. It's not like it just triggers instantly, so I'd have to sort of do it in advance. Okay, let's get the blade barrier going. Let's open with the ash. Don't die, don't die, don't die. Drag him back through the blades. Yes, yes, yes. I think, as you can probably see from that, on anything other, maybe Reaper 2, although that would have been a major struggle, I think. Reaper 1's probably where it's at for him at the moment, which, for a limited number of lives character, just starting in Epic with almost completely heroic gear, it's not terrible, is it? So I think we'll take that. I just need to get better on the old Reaper boost on that one. Need to get better on the old key pressings, because at the moment it's not good enough. I've got some lovely attacks there, but they're not being used at the right time, so that needs to change if we want to be successful in this life, I think. Still, it's a bloody but reasonably successful start, I think, to our epic life. I'm reasonably happy. We've got all those done now. The Borderlands. Reasonably happy with where we are. The Borderlands was more recent content than a lot of the other sort of 20 and 21 stuff, wasn't it? So maybe we'll find that we don't get hurt quite so bad in quests like the Snitch and what's the other? The Sentinels chain is a 20 chain, isn't it? I think I'll be running most of those. The added bonus is the tokens that come from them. So these, I'll just pick up the commendations for more of these potions of spell power. Funny thing, I've never found from these Borderlands quests an item with any augment slots. So eventually I kind of gave up looking. Oh, having said that, there's one there. Maybe it only holds true for the heroic versions. I'm pretty sure I've never found an item with an augment slot in heroic from these. I think that might be because they're so quick to farm. You could just go through and perhaps take advantage of that, as if anybody would. Right, you don't want to sit there and see me turning in all this rubbish, so plans for the future, hopefully to group up at some stage with Mike to take some of the heat off my poor beleaguered self. I think that could go quite well, because he has a fairly strong melee cleric build, and hopefully as well the bear, and maybe all as well with a bard might be able to join us, and I think that could help us boost the difficulty up quite significantly too, to the benefit of all, because all of our characters could definitely use some Reaper points. Purple has just 30 at the moment. Not terrible, but could definitely use a few more, especially to be able to have the nice caster things, but to be able to get the 4th core in Grim Barricade would be big for him. That's 100 hit points and 1 on all saves. That's probably the biggest difference your Reaper points can make. So I would very much like to have that. It's probably would be a good idea to switch some points out of here and make up enough to get 21 there when we reach level 21. But me being me and being on a caster and all, I think I'll probably stubbornly stick to this and see how we go on. So quest wise, we'll definitely run the Snitch, because that's one that I like. Some of those in Denith, level 20s. And there's also the Evening Star 1 chain. Is that a level 20 or a 21? I think that might be a 21. Plus there's the 21s in Kundarak, aren't there? The Jungle of Kyber and all that. Oh, I do not look forward to that with the Beholders. Just not. That boss Beholder is really nasty in the jungle. Right, I think I've waffled on for quite enough. Hope that was okay for you. Thank you very much as always for looking, and I will limp on towards the next one, where I hope to see you there. Take care.